Welcome to Bounce 519. It is Big G, not to be confused as my other alias, Crypto G from Blue Collar Crypto. I'm here because I do honestly have been thinking a lot, because if you're not 50 or haven't creeped up to that age, you might not understand what I'm talking about. But as you get to this age, you start wondering, when my father was 50, what was I doing? And how old was I? Because I kind of do that with Maxina. Like, Maxina is 21. What was I doing when I was 21? And I was like, oh, that's not good. And just what my parents were doing. You know, where you think your parents, you blame them because they were supposed to know everything, but they didn't know shit. They just know as much as you. They're learning on the fly. Your parents are learning on the fly, and they're only as good as the parents that brought them up, or that they want to be. So creeping up to 50, I've been thinking about my top 50 moments. And I don't know how I rank them. They're just the 50 that haven't disappeared since the stroke, because there are some things and memories that I look at, like in pictures or video, that I really can't recall being there or experiencing it, what it smells like, what it felt like. And then there are some things that are like way pre-stroke. Like, I was just talking to a friend of mine from the high school days. And I say the high school days, we didn't even go to high school together, but I saw him almost every day. Just because we trained, like we did boxing and Muay Thai together. And he lived at my house for a bit with my family. And now his son is a amateur boxer. At HP too, so like he's competing competitively. But yeah, we were messaging each other, and I have crazy memories of hanging out with him back then. Yet my short-term memory is so bad. It's so bad. Now I'm going to be changing my meds, so hopefully the meds have something to do with that. Where everyone was telling me, if you listen to my last episode, if the vertigo that I continue to feel is due to the medication and even the cramping I get in my legs, that kind of prevents me from being able to train. Like, it's so hard to even walk on a treadmill or even walk my dogs. Like, I make sure I walk my dogs because I don't want my hips and legs to seize right up. But, like my legs, see, there goes my short-term memory. My legs, they feel like the third and fourth day after a hard leg day, you know? Like, it feels like they're almost good, but when you take a step, you still feel the contraction in your quad. Yeah, I'm like that always. Where it almost feels like it feels like your third set of leg extensions. If you did 3 sets of 30 on leg extension, my legs feel like walking to leg press after. When they're just full and tight and you walk in weird. Yeah, I feel that all the time. They don't look like they used to when I did 3 sets of leg extension. But yeah, you know, when you do that, 3 sets of leg extension, because I used to do like 3 to 5 sets of 30 to 50, and then the same on lying leg curl. And then I would start my workout, because then I was warmed up. Can't even think of doing that now. I wouldn't be able to do that. If I did leg extension, my legs would lock in extension. And crabs, crabs, crabs. Max is laughing. Sorry. There I go. No, not you, Siri. Speaking of which, one of my. Yeah, I guess we can start there. Oh, I don't know how these are going to go. So, I'm going to do them all throughout the week, edit them, but I don't know where I'm going to group them into the top 5 because I think I only have time to give my. We'll see how the week goes. Give my top 5 moments in the past 50 years. So I'll edit them and then I'll figure out where they rank from 5 to 1 or however many I'm doing. And then we'll see what that show looks like on the weekend on my birthday. All right. So I guess without further ado, this is how the experiences went. So one of my top 50, of course, it's one of my top 50 is Devil's Night 2017. I had a brainstem stroke and I was left for dead. The wild thing is because my faith is so strong now. It's interesting to think back at that time and see that God was there the whole time. It's wild. So hard not to get emotional about it. But it was 5 a.m. and I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. And I came back from the bathroom. And I went back to sleep, but instantly woke up because I felt like hot oil was like dripping all over my skin. It sucked. Like it was like, I don't know. I can't even. That's just hot oil being poured on my skin. And then I realized that the room was spinning, and I was starting to panic because I couldn't control my eyes. Like my TV was on because I usually set it as an alarm. I could set it to turn on to wake me up because I was still, working at the gym, and I still woke up to do fasted cardio before I went. So the TV, remember, was on, and the TV started spinning around my head, but I knew the TV was supposed to be mounted. It was mounted on the wall. And it started spinning, and I knew I was in trouble. It started making me throw up. So I'm in bed, feeling the hot oil. Room spins, TV's spinning around my head. I'm nauseated because I don't know which way is up, honestly. It's like I was spinning and free falling from the sky because I didn't know which way was up. Or like if you ever get hit by a big wave and you don't know which way is the surface. Like it's scary. It's really scary. And I was alone in a basement apartment. Maxina was with her mother. And I was single at the time. So, yeah, man. So that happens, and I started, the vomiting. I needed to get out of bed. And then when I tried to get out of bed, that's when I realized my legs and my arms didn't work. Because I fell immediately. And I was just on the ground. I was on the ground in a big panic. But I was coaching myself. It was weird. I was coaching myself to stay calm. And I quickly would analyze the whole situation, like I did in business, like I did in the ring. I was like, how long before Mike notices? Like 9:30. He would come to the house, see my truck, knock, but he wouldn't be able to get in. I'm like, that's too late. I remember asking God, am I going to die here? Is this it? God said no. Not yet. And then he reminded me that I set up I set up the Siri app, the voice command, the week before, and it just came out. And not everyone's like, why would I use it? And I used it a lot for when I drove, and then I could just ask Siri to call or text somebody without having to use my phone or pick up my phone. Tried to get better at that. But if you're Gen X and you grew into cell phones because you lived without one and then now live with them, you text and drive for sure. Only because you guys are the best at it. But I called for Siri. And my voice was so shaky because I was nervous that she didn't respond. I set it that day, and it's still set to this. It's a British female. So makes me feel like some assassin agent or something like that. So she never answered. I took a deep breath because I was like, I'm not dying here. Once I asked God, the fear was gone. The fear of death was gone. But I felt and knew that I was fighting for my quality of life in the future. Yeah, you might be alive, but are you a vegetable, or can you still train? Can you still fight? So, yeah, I called for Siri the second time. She answered. I got help, and the ambulance, the emergency services are on their way. And I'm in my underwear. I always just sleep in underwear. It's just been a thing. And I'm in a basement apartment. And I was like, oh my gosh, how are they going to get in here? I was like, I got to try and fight to get to the front door. I didn't want them to have to break it. You know what I mean? It was just so weird. So I I was on the ground, and then I saw jogging pants and a hoodie, and I was also like, I don't want them to come in and I'm naked, but I wasn't naked, but still, I didn't want them to come in and I'm in my underwear. Like I was still concerned about that in the middle of the worst. Like I can't see. And if I used my eyes, I had so much vertigo that I would get sick. But by that time I was just dry heaving because I couldn't throw up anymore. So I wiggled my way into these pants and a hoodie, and then like went all the way to the door. Had to like do this type of deal because my fingers didn't work to unlatch the door and then to turn the knob. It was like, yeah, I was doing that, and then I just, yeah, knee, like elbow, hip, trying to get up those stairs. And then I just opened the front door, the main door, to get outside. Because obviously I lived in a basement apartment, so there was two doors. And I left it open and I just laid there on the cold. It was Devil's Night, October, but it was cold. And I just laid there on the cold cement. And I must have been, pardon me, there for a minute or two. Everything else felt long. That felt very short because it just felt like I closed my eyes after all of that because it was so taxing on me to get there. I closed my eyes, and when I woke up, well, not even woke up, just kind of like felt like I was just blinking a little bit, and then I saw the lights of the ambulance come, and then relief. I just felt relief. So I got there. Clot busters right away, but then I had to did a CT scan, didn't see much, and then they had to do an MRI. And then when they did an MRI, they realized it was a brainstem stroke, Waldenberg's. So both sides of my brain were hit. Yeah, so I couldn't see for a while. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even sit up. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, I can't walk, but you can still feed yourself. And then there's another level where I couldn't walk and I couldn't feed myself and I couldn't sit up. Like, I didn't even have my core. Like, I didn't have mental control over my abs, like over my core to sit up. Just to hold myself up. I was like, when baby doesn't have that, they're just going to fall. So they had to use like nurses, I was literally only working from the neck up and could speak. And I also couldn't see. So I had my eyes taped shut, gauze, make sure there's no light, and then sunglasses on top. That was like the first 48 or something like that. And then I just needed sunglasses and no light. We just kept the blinds shut. Because the light would create the vertigo. I was on a lot of gabapentin at the time, which my dog takes now. But yeah, just the beginning was rough. Like, and being the gym owner, I was still fighting. I just finished doing the nationals. Aaron Gully and Emily were at that nationals. They weren't even pros yet. Like, we were in Edmonton. Like, I just did the nationals. I was still fighting. I was doing all that stuff. And then somebody had to clean me after I went to the bathroom. Somebody had to give me a sponge bath because I couldn't move. Somebody had to feed me. Yeah. Anytime I moved my head too fast, I'd want to be sick because just the vertigo, like my brain was just steps behind. And it hurt. Like, it felt like it hurt to move. Like, it was little car crashes. It's hard to explain, but it sucked. But I remember starting to get better. I could see and I could move my arms, so I could feed myself, but I still couldn't sit up too well, and I was not walking. I was still having to go bathroom in the bed. It sucked. But I really wanted to get in the wheelchair so then I could get into the bathroom by myself, prove to them that I could do it. Just, you're embarrassed. You came from being a fighter and being a competitive bodybuilder and owning a gym and being a coach and instructor, and now I'm helpless. From helping everyone and trying to set an example to not being able to live by myself without aid. It's a big mental fuck. But I started to get better. And my TSN turning point, as I like to call it, was I was doing the board. There's a board they give you. It's a wooden board. And screwed onto it is all different types of latches and locks and keys and all these little things to help you relearn how to use your hands. Because, like, I got the feeling back, but it's not like I could use them. Like, I couldn't even hold a spoon, brush my teeth, shave my head. I still couldn't do those things, but I could lift them. That's, I could move it, but I didn't have coordination. Like, that's a whole nother story. Like, when you got to remember when I say, oh, I could start to use my eyes. Well, my eyes worked, but I didn't have any hand-eye coordination. Like, oh, I could move my arms, but I couldn't use them to feed myself or wipe my own ass. Like, that's not, there's a difference. Like, just because I regained it, I didn't regain it to full strength or full ability. That took a long time. So, I was using the lock board, and that's the stage I was at, not walking, but trying to retrain my hands and my hand-eye coordination. And, like, if I do it for around 10 minutes, I would start to get sick because if I used my brain too much, it would get overworked and my body would break down. So then my brain didn't have enough capacity to let my body continue. I don't know if that makes sense. So it would only be 15 minutes, then the next time 20. Like, I try to work up. My brain needed stamina, not just my brain needed stamina in order to help get my physical well-being back. So it was a weird, trying time. But the doctor came to see me afterwards. And we're talking about the board and how my recovery is. And he said I was doing really well, and that, patients that have Waldenberg's don't usually speak, number one. And number two, don't usually bounce back as fast as I was. He said it was due to being in shape ahead of the stroke. And especially guys or people my age, even my age at the time, it was 2017. How old was I in 2017? That's 8 years ago, let's say. And I'm turning 50. Oh my gosh. So it's 42. But yeah, not just my shape, but the speed I got to the hospital. So when they were able to get the clot busters in and thin my blood out enough to get the blood flowing again to my brain and properly and everything, because they said it was, all within the first hour that it happened. The recovery tends to be better. So I had those two things working for me. But I keep losing my train of thought. Is that the stroke or is that something else? So he was chatting to me, and I said, "So, Doc, what are you gonna do? What do you give me next so I can walk out of here? Like, what do you do? What are we gonna do to get me to walk? What do we do for that? What do I take? Do you know yet? You know what we're doing?" Like, he goes, "Oh, the walking? Oh, that's on you." I'm like, "What do you mean that's on me?" He goes, "You just need to figure out a way to make a new connection." He goes, "So the connection between your brain and your legs the bridge has been broken. So you need to remap a new way, a new bridge to get that signal there. But that's going to be on you." And I was like, "So you're telling me that it's on my work ethic on wanting to walk if I'll walk?" And he's like, "Yep." I go, "Can you bring the board back in for me?" So we brought the board in, and I started working again. Okay, if I can do my hands and arms today, then I'm gonna start doing more of these locks and bolts and screws and keys, and I started doing all that shit. Get that back, and after they took that back, I would and this is good because of bodybuilding. I knew how to contract all my muscles, just even laying down, like holding in my relaxed stance, in my posing. Like I'm able to understand to flex. So I would flex like in my relaxed stance, flex my lats, because I was still in pretty good shape even when I went to the hospital, because Nationals was only 3 months out before. So anyway, so like flex my quads, flex my calves, flex everything. I was just able to get the feeling back. So the more I could get the feeling back and the connection, the mind muscle connection, I was able to walk, to fast forward through it. There's a video, whatever. Everybody's seen it. If you haven't, there's one out there. It's pretty good. And I go from that to 7 months after being able to walk, being on stage at a bodybuilding show, the Classic Physique Masters, obviously the 40 and over. I got second, which isn't bad for being blind and paralyzed a year beforehand. And then a year after that, I fought in one more full contact taekwondo tournament. Also in the 40 and over heavyweight black belt, but whatever. You have a stroke and do that. Do those two back to back. Now my body's broken, but if you heard my last episode, it might be the drugs I'm on. So the drugs I'm on, like, stop the leg cramping. Like, yeah, if that stops, if that's a side effect, and the vertigo is a side effect of these drugs, not residual from the stroke, I'm going to train. If I'm not dizzy, I'm going to train. If my legs can work again, I'm going to train. Hard too, yo. Oh my gosh. Everyone's in trouble. Like, if that clears up before this GRFS Taekwondo Academy starts, oh my gosh. So good. All right. That's it for this top 50. Again, I don't know where I ranked it, but you probably saw the number ahead of time. Okay. I'll see you on the next one.